Hello everyone. Hope everyone are doing good. So this is your history recorded class and the topic is what, where, how and when. So before getting into the topic, let's know what is history. Anything that happened in the past is known as history. So who are historians? People who do research about the past, who go and search the past are known as historians. Let's get into the topic. So, have you ever thought what happened 100 years ago? Could anyone know what had happened so many years ago? For example, if you want to know what happened yesterday, what you will do? You can listen to radio, watch TV, or read newspaper. What about last year? You can ask somebody who remembers, but how about long ago? So, if you want to know the answer, you should go and search the past. So, from the past, we can know about what people ate, what clothes they wore, what houses they lived, what jobs they did, and what types of games they played, and so on. We can know everything about the people, those who lived in the past. So now we are going to see about where do people live. People lived along the banks of the river Narmada. Some of them were skilled gatherers. So gatherers means they gathers food. They know about the wealth of plants in surrounding forest. They collected roots, fruits for food and medicine. They also hunted animals. And now we are going to see about the people who lived in Sulaiman and Kirtar hills. Men and women grow crops such as wheat and barley 8,000 years ago. People also rear animals like sheep, goat and cattle and lived in villages. The next one is Garo Hills in northeast and the Vindhyas in the central. They were places where agriculture was developed. Rice was first grown in the north of the Vindhya. The next one is Indus and its tributaries. So Indus, everyone know it's a river. So what are tributaries? Tributaries are smaller rivers flows into a larger river. So about 4,700 years ago, some cities flourished on the banks of Indus and its tributaries. Later, 2,500 years ago, cities developed on bank of the Ganga and its tributaries and also along the sea coast. In the ancient time, area along the river of the south of the Ganga is known as Magadha. Those rulers who ruled the Magadha were very powerful and they set up a very large kingdom. They were also kingdom in the other part of the country as well. So people in the ancient time, they didn't stay in a single place. They traveled from one part to the other part of the subcontinent. The hill and high mountains like Himalayas, deserts, rivers and sea journeys were very dangerous while traveling, but it was never impossible. So why do they travel? So men and women traveled for livelihood, to escape from natural disaster like drought or floods. Men marched in armies to conquer other land. Beside, merchants traveled with caravans or ships carrying valuable goods from place to place. And some religious teacher walked village to village, town to town, stopping to offer instructions and advices. Some people wanted to explore new places and have adventure life. So these are the reason why people traveled from place to place. So what were the hurdles when they travel? The natural frontiers. So what does mean by a frontier? The line where one country joins another is called a frontier. The border of each country is known as a frontier. So what are the natural frontier? The hills, mountains, seas are called the natural frontiers. It is difficult to cross the frontier, but those who wanted to cross, they crossed the borders, they crossed the frontiers, came into the subcontinent and settled here. This enriched cultural and tradition. People shared new way of carving stone, composing music and even cooking food over several hundred years. And the next topic is names of the land. The most two words that used are India and Bharat. India is derived from the word Indus, which is called as Sindhu in Sanskrit. The Iranians and Greek who came from the northwest 2,500 years ago were familiar with it. So, and the Hindus or Indos are the lands east of the river was called as India. So from this only the name India came into existence. Next one is the Bharata. Bharata is used for a group of people who lived in the northwest. This was mentioned in the Rig Veda. Rig Veda is the earliest composition of Sanskrit 3500 years ago. Later it was used for the country. So how can we know about the past? So we can know about the past by several ways. For example, reading books written long ago, and it is called as manuscript. Menu is derived from the Latin word which has the meaning hand. So the script written by hand is known as manuscript. Manuscripts were written usually on palm leaf or specially prepared bark of a tree named as birch that grows in Himalayas. Over the years, manuscripts were eaten by insects and it was destroyed, but many survived. Those which are survived were preserved in temples and in monasteries. So what was written in the manuscript? The religious beliefs and practices of the people, the lives of the kings, the medicines they used, and the science and technologies they invented are written in the manuscript. Beside this, there were epics, poems, plays that was also written in manuscript. Many of manuscript were written in the language Sanskrit, others in Prakrit. Prakrit is the language of ordinary people, and few in Tamil. So next we are going to see the second one. So where can we know about the past? We can know about the past from manuscript, and the second one is inscription. Inscription is written in hard substance or surface like stone or metal. So what was written in the inscription? The king's order are inscribed in stone so people can read and obey. The other inscriptions are about king and queen, how they lived, their records of victories in battles. So the next one where we can know from the past is archaeology. Archaeology is the study of remains of building made of stone, brick, painting and sculpture. They also explore and excavate and find tools, weapon, pot, pan, ornaments and coins. Some of these are made up of stone, bone, baked clay and metal. And the objects that are made up of hard substance survived long. So archaeologists. Who are archaeologists? People who study about archaeology, who works in archaeology are known as archaeologists. These archaeologists look for bones of animals, birds and fish, and they find about the past, how people lived, how they ate, what type of food they ate. The remains of plants didn't survive rarely. They only survived rarely. Most of them were destroyed. So the remains of the plants like seeds, grains, wood is burnt, and only they survived in charred form. So the historians, for the historians are the scholars who study about the past, and the sources of historians are manuscript, inscription and archaeology. Once a source is found, learning about is very, very adventurous to them. So archaeologists are like detectives who goes and finds the clue of the past. The next one is Are Past or Many? The topic of our book is past. It is in a plural form because past is different for different group of people. For example, the life of the herder or farmer is different from the life of the kings and queen. The life of a merchant is different from the life of a craft person. Even today, people follow different practices and custom in different part of the world. For example, the Andaman Nicobar Island, the people in Andaman Nicobar Island own their food. They go for fishing, they go for hunting, they collect their food and they collect the forest produce. But totally contrast to this, the people in city depend on food supply. So differences exist in the past also. What are the kinds of differences means? Kings kept records of their battle they fought, their victories, and everything about it. They ordered their people and they used to ask them to write as manuscripts and inscription. But the common people like hunters, fisherfolk, gatherers, farmers, and herders doesn't keep record of themselves. So it was very hard for the archaeologist for finding about the past of the common people, and mostly they couldn't find anything. The next topic is what date means. Date consists of day, month, year. For example, 2020. This year is 2020. So the dates were counted from the date assigned to the birth of Jesus Christ. So after Jesus Christ was born, the history was created. Time was divided because of the birth of Jesus Christ. For example, this year is 2020. So you can say 2020 after the birth of Jesus Christ. All dates before Jesus Christ's birth is counted backwards and have the letter BC. BC defines before Christ. And AD. AD is a Latin word which is known as Anno Domini. The meaning is in the year of the Lord. So all dates that are counted after the birth of Jesus Christ are known as AD. So you can call 2020 as AD 2020. And CE. CE is Common Era. So instead of AD you can write CE. BCE, before Common Era. Instead of BC, you can write before Common Era, BCE or BP. BP means before present. So that's all for this chapter. I hope everyone understand. Thank you so much.